What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update for you guys, and we have an update on the Fabio Paratici situation. And Fabrizio Romano told us today that Fabio Paratici has now launched his appeal to FIFA against his 2.5-year worldwide ban. And FIFA made a statement as well to Reuters saying that FIFA can only confirm that an appeal has been lodged by Mr. Paratici against the decision passed by the chairperson of the disciplinary committee. And Paratici's appeal hearing against the FIGC sanctions will take place on the 19th of April 2023. So that's the day we'll know if he's going to be staying in his role or leaving, I guess. But that's the state of play.
Yeah, 8 days' time. I guess we'll get some closure finally. I do find it unlikely that he'll get overturned, but then again, I don't really know the details into how likely these things are to be overturned. I'm just basing it on the fact that I'm looking at the other Juve officials, and they've resigned. I don't know if they've appealed or not. They seem resigned to their punishments, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe, I don't know, is there no confirmation about the others if they've lodged any appeals?
No, nothing on them, but they literally resigned straight away. So that told you like where they thought their futures lay. And in terms of the Paratici and Scott Munn thing, I mean, we know Scott Munn ain't starting until, what was it, July the 1st. So I guess there is. Does that mean that we're not going to be starting a new manager search until July the 1st? Is that what that means?
I hope not. I mean, I find it ridiculous to think. I can't believe that will be the case. I'm sure that they're already drawing up a list. And although he's on gardening leave, Scott Munn, until July the 1st, that just means he can't work for the club in an official capacity, but doesn't mean he can't be sounding things out, you know what I mean, and drawing up lists and stuff like that.
But the thing is, he's not responsible for actually making the choice of who's the manager. He's the responsible for making the choice of who will make the choice of the manager, and that's supposed to be Fabio. So I mean, what are we supposed to do if like Paratici gets suspended, right?
He'll have to be sacked. Yeah,
and then Scott Munn don't come in until July the 1st, so we can't appoint a board of directors till July the 1st.
A director of football.
Director of football.
We can. Levy can still appoint someone, but
Levy can, but surely
you can. I'm sure Munn can suggest someone, and Levy can appoint him, but Munn can't directly be the heading the negotiation in an official capacity until July the 1st. It is a bit of a mess. I wonder what will happen on April 19th, and I do wonder if he does get it overturned. Obviously, he goes. I guess we just keep him on and it's business as usual. But with all that,
do you reckon even if this launch gets appealed, do you reckon we keep him on?
Yeah, I think so. Otherwise, we'd have sacked him already.
Yeah, you would have thought
so. I think he is. He's gonna. I think we want him to stay. To be honest, that's what I think. So I think we're going to keep him on if this appeal does get overturned, and we'll have to wait and see. But
do you think that,
from a PR point of view, it's not great? But I think
we should be keeping him on. Not from a Tottenham perspective, just like from a general perspective. Do you think that from what he's gone through, what he's going through right now, if the appeal does get passed, it's probably wrongly so. Do you think that?
Well, who knows if it's wrong?
Fine, but who knows? But do you think that it should be?
If the appeal gets overturned, then there's no reason not to keep him on, I guess. Even if you can say, well, he's probably still guilty, but we don't know that. We don't really know the ins and outs. I would assume he probably is still guilty, to be honest. But if the appeal gets overturned from public standpoint, there's no reason to just sack him for no reason. If there's no obvious evidence of wrongdoing, if the appeal gets overturned. So from Tottenham's point of view, I think they want to keep him. They want him to stay on, and they're just hoping the appeal is successful. And I think from a recruitment point of view, I think Munn would probably be happy to have someone like Paratici there.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Very much established in the game. So, look, I think it's a bit unfair that a lot of criticism has come his way regards to the job that he has done at Spurs, because I think he's actually done quite a good job so far.
Yeah, I think he's helped lower the average age of the squad, bring hopefully the next generation like Sarr and Spence, Udoji, Gil, hopefully bring in the next generation of players who will start that process anyway. So I think he's done a good job there, that he's brought in young established players like Kulusevski, Bentancur, Romero. So he has done a good job in that sense. Obviously, we don't know yet how Richarlison and Basuma are all going to end up. Although
they're all good players, aren't they?
Levy had a big say in those kind of transfers, but they are good players. So I do think he's done a good job. It's just they haven't all worked out immediately, but I guess he'll be really judged in a few years' time.
Absolutely. Let's move on and let's talk about Tanguy Ndombele and his future. Ali Gold has been speaking about it today, and he says Napoli have an option to sign him for 30 million euros, which is 26.3 million pounds. And there's a suggestion that there might be a clause which makes it an obligation if Napoli do qualify for Champions League, which they are about to do so for next season. If that clause does exist, then that might take the decision out of Tottenham hands. So that'll be really interesting if there is an obligation there.
Yeah, I mean, if that's true, that'll be a massive win for Spurs, because it means that I don't know how much the obligation will be for. Maybe it's less money, but that would mean that he's automatically paid for.
That ballpark figure, though, wouldn't
Yeah, you would thought so.
25 million.
Yeah, it could be a different figure, but I'd assume if it's if the option is that 30 million, it has to be somewhere around that. So that would be massive to get him off the wage bill and get him signed for Napoli for a fee as well. If that obligation is real or not, we'll have to wait and see whether that's the case. We'll find out at the end of the season, but that would be fantastic from Tottenham's point of view, because we know how much trouble we've had shifting him and how big his wages are, and just having him around on those wages has caused Tottenham a lot of trouble. So if we were to get him off the wage bill for a fee as well, that would be quite important business from Spurs, if that was possible.
Yeah, and I do kind of remember when the deal was struck in the summer that there was murmurings of an obligation of this kind of situation, but we didn't hear anything after that. But let's hope it is in there, because it will be a massive option for Spurs if he does go there on an obligation. Next up, let's talk about another Napoli player in Alex Meret. Napoli Calcio Live, a Napoli publication, say that Tottenham see goalkeeper Alex Meret as the ideal replacement for Hugo Lloris, currently valued at £40 million.
Interesting. Yeah, obviously he's had a great season for Napoli. I think he's quite a modern keeper as well. I can't say I know too much specifically about him, but the fact that he's been so solid for Napoli this season, and if Spurs have identified him as a long-term replacement at his age, that could be quite an important deal. So I'll be all for it if Spurs are going to push the boat out for him.
Yeah, I was just trying to see how many caps he's had for Italy, because I know he has started to break into the team a little bit. But obviously they got Donnarumma there, so it's going to be extremely difficult. So yeah, he's had 3 caps for Italy, which when you've got a keeper like Donnarumma there, I guess that's impressive. I
guess so, yeah, because he's so young, Donnarumma. So even when he was Meret's older, yeah, but even when Donnarumma was breaking to the team, like Meret was a bit older than him, so he's literally had no opportunity to be their number one keeper for Italy. But look, I'm all for it. We need a new keeper. He's at a good age. Whether he fits the bill when it comes to being what we need, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I'm just looking at the games that he has played. It was an international friendly against Albania, 27 minutes against San Marino in a friendly, and 13 minutes against Armenia in a friendly. So not the most extensive international caps he's had. But look, I think he's had a really good season. Like my brother said, I haven't seen too much of him, but he is making waves in the Italian league. They're about to win the league, potentially go far in the Champions League as well. If I gave you the choice of Meret or David Raya, both for 40 million, which one are you taking?
Oh, me personally, I would go Raya only because I know more about him, but not to say that definitely means he's a better keeper, but I think I would go Red, and he has that Premier experience as well.
Yeah. Next up, let's talk about Evan Ferguson of Brighton. The Mail are reporting that Brighton are hopeful of agreeing a new contract for Evan Ferguson before the end of the month, despite strong interest from both Manchester United and Tottenham. Spurs potentially see him as the heir to Harry Kane's throne.
I mean, that's a big shirt of boots to fill. He's obviously clearly a very talented striker, and he's on his way to do that. I wouldn't proclaim him the heir to Kane's throne just yet. But if I was Evan Ferguson, I would stay at Brighton for the time being, get as many minutes as possible. At the moment, they've got Welbeck up front, and you easily could get minutes in that side in a Premier League team and be the number one striker going forward, especially with his goals to minute ratio. So if I was him, I wouldn't go anywhere right now. Why would he come and sit on the bench at Spurs next season? Or depending if Kane is going to be here or not. But Why would he leave where he's got a good thing going at Brighton, especially with a good manager for him? He's going to get lots of chances, and he's getting lots of minutes as a teenager and playing really well. It's really working out for him. So if I'm thinking of him for his career, I would stay at Brighton for the time being. But he might be that kind of kid who's really ambitious, just wants to get to a big club as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got the right people around him, giving him the right advice, in my opinion, they would tell him to stick around for the next 3 years at least at Brighton. He's still 18 years of age. Stick around there till you're 20, 21, and then if your trajectory goes the same way that it should be going with the way you're going now, then you're going to get a very big move for a lot of money in 3 years' time.
100%. I agree with that. So we'll see how it plays out. I think a contract is probably the right thing for him.
Mm-hmm. Next up, and the last of the update, is on Hakim Ziyech, a publication called AS Roma Live, saying that Roma are keen on signing Ziyech, but Tottenham in the last few hours have shown their appreciation for Chelsea forward Hakim Ziyech, who would prefer to stay in London. I mean, it's an interesting one, Ziyech, because not getting the playing time at Chelsea, I do believe Chelsea are playing him probably in the wrong system, the wrong way. I actually think Ziyech is a really good player. I thought he showed good quality at the World Cup with Morocco as well, one of their best players. And I think that to come in and play in the system that Spurs are playing now, I think he would fit the bill fairly well, trying to compete with Dejan Kulusevski. But if we're bringing him in as a star player, an out-and-out player, then no, I wouldn't want him. But to compete as a squad player, I think he would be a good fit the bill quite well.
Potentially. I don't know if he'd get disgruntled being a squad player just after being a squad player at Chelsea. I don't know if he wants to go somewhere and be an automatic starter. I do think he's got a few attitude problems, which his previous coaches have spoken about, and in terms of work rate problems as well. So as much as he's got good quality, he's got a good left foot, I wouldn't take the risk. I think he would probably command decent wages as well. I think if we're going to sign competition with Kulusevski, I'd go in a different direction than Hakim Ziyech myself. I just don't think he's worth the trouble.
Yeah, it's fair point to make. I think if you're looking at maybe a budget signing, I think it might be a good one. I mean, I think Spurs fans, myself, would like to set our sights a bit higher, maybe getting a really good young up and coming prospect to really fight Decky for that role. But I mean, if we were to sign Ziyech, I wouldn't be the most upset. I mean, I think it would definitely add to our squad. Definitely add with the Lucas Moura going anyway.
He's definitely better than Lucas, I agree. But yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't be moping about it, but I just don't think it's the direction we should be going in right now.
Yeah, I kind of agree. And it's kind of like the signings where maybe Arsenal were making when they were getting it all wrong time and time again, they failed at different clubs, a bit washed, and you're coming maybe to reinvigorate your career, and most likely it's probably not going to happen.
I agree, and that's what we should be avoiding.
All right, well, there you have it. That is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news stories we've brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment, and as always,
come on, you